Hey guys, welcome to Max and Ben Talk Hockey. I'm Ben, and Max is somewhere in the background. And today we are interviewing forward Mason Shaw, who's currently on the Iowa Wild of the AHL and also a teammate of Hunter Jones. Link is up there, I believe, for that video. And he's from Lloydminster, Alberta. So he definitely knows Chase Wouters. Also link there for that video at the end. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. It means a lot to us. We're trying to hit 200 subscribers. That would be huge. And try to follow us on Max and Ben Talk Hockey on Instagram. That's Max and Ben Talk Hockey. We're trying to get to 200 followers for that also. We post quite a lot, and we'll definitely be posting about this video. So if you want to hear cool updates about our lives and about just the channel and other players, definitely subscribe to that channel. And yeah, let's go right to the interview. All right, so just the first thing that we're going to talk about is just like the NHL and your opinions on it, what your favorite team is, what do you think the whole situation is, and what do you think of the playoffs, and who do you think is going to make it?
Well, I guess first off, that's a dream of mine to get there. I played in this is my third year in Iowa right now. I still haven't made it to get a regular season game in the NHL, so that's still a big time dream and goal of mine. I mean, we're one league away from it, and a call up could happen at any time. So it's really exciting in terms of the position I'm at in my career. The NHL, I mean, it's kind of been a crazy year. I know for the most part, a lot of the AHL teams aren't doing playoffs. So the fact that the NHL gets to go through, they got quite a few games in this year and they're going to get a playoffs is pretty exciting for them. Being from Canada, I've paid quite a bit of attention to the Canadian division as there's a lot of good rivalries there that, a lot of teams out west and out east haven't got to play each other much. So I know that the country is, really enjoyed that. And in terms of playoffs, it's hard to say. I mean, I guess being with the Minnesota organization, they've shown to be a pretty good team this year and can really make some noise in the playoffs. But I think growing up, being close to Edmonton, I was always an Oilers fan, so I definitely pay attention to them a little bit.
Got it. Yeah. Max, what are your opinions on it? Just like you're a Bruins fan and I'm a Rangers fan, so just like, what's your opinion on it? Who do you think is gonna make the playoffs? What's your
Well, our division is stacked. I mean, the Canadian one and the East are like really fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping Boston pulls through, but our roster is really old right now. So,
were you happy with the Taylor Hall trade?
Oh, I was like jumping up and down. It was 2 a.m. I found out I was jumping up and down.
Ecstatic.
Yeah.
I saw the trade come through. I had to refresh just to make sure it wasn't like a fake account, like one of those like fake accounts.
Yeah, that's an exciting thing about the deadline is when big name gets thrown around. So that was an interesting one.
Yep. Yeah. And then who else is there? So like as a Rangers fan, like we're on the outside looking in and we're just on the outside. So yeah, that's just like we missed the trade deadline. I think our GMs fell asleep.
That team's still young, so that time will come for sure.
I expect my goals, like my dad and I like set some goals for the Rangers that we expect them to hit. And next year it's make the playoffs. And then the next 5 years it's win a cup, basically, because they've like already like taken steps. So
yeah, no, for sure. It's at the end of the day, only one team can win too. And you can't risk, losing, your prospects or your future either at a deadline either. So it's these stressful times for those GMs at the deadlines. That's for sure.
Yep, definitely.
Ben, Max, how are you guys doing? Thanks for bearing with me on the delay to get back to you guys. I got crazy busy and I just got buried down in the inbox, but I'm happy I got back to you guys. I think what you guys are doing is so cool. And I just want to let you guys know Mason's got about 15, 20 minutes here. So, I'll shut up and listen at this point, but any questions for me before I become seen but not heard?
No questions. You're actually making a little cameo into your YouTube. So this is like your 15 seconds of fame.
Wow.
There you
All right.
go.
Okay.
Take it and run with it, Ben.
No, I need to be in the background, so I will. I'll sit in and listen, guys, and keep up the good work.
Of course, no worries. Thank you. Yeah. Max, what's the next topic that you want to talk about?
Yeah, so I think we should transition over to COVID. How has it been with playing AHL hockey during the whole COVID season, and how hard has it been to find time to train and get ice time?
Well, it was extremely tough before, we got to go to camp in Minnesota. Back home in Alberta, stuff was shut down, so it was extremely tough to find ice. And, our training groups that are usually at, 10 people could only be at 3 kind of thing. So the hardest part was before the season even got going. Once we finally got told we were going to be playing and camp happened in Minnesota and then in Iowa, I mean, it kind of just rolled in terms of the hockey stuff. Obviously, there was a lot of changes, no fans, a little bit of fans, the mask we wear every day, just little things like that. But I mean, as of late in Iowa, we get great fan support. I think I'm not sure exactly the percentage we're allowed, but I know, there's been some games been over 4,000. So we have people in our rink and it's been really enjoyable. The COVID thing, it's been a really weird year and a lot less games. We're not playing in playoffs. So, I mean, that's really frustrating, but we waited at home for 8 months. So it's just been an absolute joy to be with teammates and be playing again.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds great. Like, it was the same thing for my hockey team and Max, because we play in like the same giant New Jersey league. We're in different divisions, so we never played against each other. But yeah, so like we heard we were gonna play over the summer. So like our teams, we have like training sessions and just stuff that we would be doing. And then like we would start to play. And this is for my team, Max. I don't think you guys got COVID or anyone on your team got COVID. You had to quarantine. But for me, especially in the beginning of the year, it was really annoying because we would have to quarantine like every 3 weeks because someone got in contact. And our team was really bad at this, sadly. Luckily, I never got COVID. All my tests came back negative. But it was really unfortunate, even though we did really well this season. It was just unfortunate that like the season couldn't end like when it was supposed to. And
I mean, I feel bad for guys all over the place. I mean, everywhere is different, but I know a lot of guys have missed out on opportunities and just on normal seasons. So, I mean, the thing is most guys are in the same boat for the most part. And hopefully, I mean, come next hockey season, whenever that time may be, that it's fully back to normal and fully functioning. But our group's been pretty good. I think we've only had 1 or 2 guys get it. We've been able to minimize damage. We haven't lost any games yet because of it. So I came down right when Minnesota had their COVID problems. I was up there, so I missed a few games at home just because being in close contact with them. But other than that, it hasn't really been too big of a factor as of late anyways, and hopefully it stays that way the rest of the way for us.
Yeah, I mean, I have like a funny story. 5 minutes before a game, the coaches were on the phone talking with someone I didn't know who, and like I saw them just out of the corner of my eye because I was off to the side doing like stretches and stuff as a goalie, and then they started walking back, and like they had even though they had their masks on, I saw they had like worried looks in their eyes.
Yeah.
And they said, "Take off your stuff. Game's canceled. Someone on our team got COVID. You're all in quarantine."
Yeah, we've had a couple of those where you show up to the rink and get changed into your stuff and whatnot, and then we get our results back, and there's been a couple guys who are red flagged, and you get sent home for the day. So, I know how you guys are feeling on that end, anyways.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Mm-hmm.
Just turning it around to a different topic. How was your experience at the NHL draft and combine back in 2017? Just like walk us through the moments of being in the combine and then getting your name heard at the draft in the 4th round.
Yeah, I mean, at the combine, it was a really cool experience. I think the part I liked about that the most was just the interview process. I remember my first meeting being with Toronto. There's about 10 guys in the room, and I was just, nervous as all hell. I can't even remember the words ever coming out of my mouth. I was probably fumbling a little bit, but the training, the fitness part we do that all the time. So it felt somewhat normal. I remember after the Wingate, I didn't feel too well and I threw up after that, but the interview process was just super cool. Meeting with all these different teams and just, you know, hearing what they had to say about you. Some obviously questioned you, some went with the flow. Just a really cool experience. And then leading up to the draft, my family, we made it down to Chicago for that. Just a really cool, I think it was only 3 days. It was a quick trip there and back, but just a really cool experience. I'm from a small town where, you know, the possibility of drafted in the NHL just seems like such a far away possibility, and there hasn't been many to do it. So, you know, I remember being so nervous. I think my dad was even more nervous than I was. I remember he wasn't saying a whole lot. So, you know, when Minnesota finally called it, I remember I had to wait a little bit longer than I wanted to. But once they finally called it, it was just huge relief and just time to enjoy the moment with my family. And when I got home, friends. So definitely something that I'll never forget. That's for sure. Both experiences.
Yeah, I mean, that's amazing. Like, it's like there's so few people that get selected for the draft every single year. It's like,
yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I had some good seasons in junior and Medicine Hat where I came from, but you just never know. I mean, there's so much that goes into the draft, and there's so much more that goes on after that too. I mean, it's one thing to get drafted, but then your next goal is to get signed and earn a contract. And if you earn a contract, make sure the draft isn't the last time you put the jersey on. Make sure you can try to get it into the jersey during a regular season game or something like that. So, and eventually, you know, hopefully be a full timer. But definitely, like I said, just a really cool experience that I was glad I got to enjoy with my family.
Yeah, that would be like, that was definitely like a moment that like you would never forget.
And the deep dish pizza in Chicago was great too. So that was nice that I was there.
Yeah, that's nice. Max, what's your next question or next topic?
Yeah. So I'm assuming that since you're in, in the NHL, you get to, compete against both NHL and AHL players. What's the competition level between the two leagues, and what's it like seeing with some like big names?
Yeah, I mean, I remember my first training camp in Minnesota. I was a little bit starstruck just by the guys you're on the ice with and whatnot. And, you watch these guys growing up forever. And, I remember there was my first camp, I was online with Matt Hendricks, and I remember watching him forever, or well, not forever, but for a few years when he was on the Oilers. And I was just like, this is crazy. I used to yell at the TV when this guy was out there. Now, he gets to play on my left side. So at first it's pretty nerve wracking. This year was my third year at camp in Minnesota. And as you get older, you kind of want to make your mark on it a little bit more. And, versus just watching what they do out there, you want to try to impose yourself a little bit. So they've always been great. You learn a lot. I would say that the American Hockey League, every night is a hard night. Like the scale and the compete level is very close to the NHL. There's a lot of guys that play in the American League that have had long, lengthy careers in the NHL, and they did for a reason. And, there's a lot of guys that are really close to making that next jump, and we all want to do it. So everyone every night's pretty eager to play and make a statement every night to try to get called up. So the competition in the American League, there's never an easy night by any means. And if you're not ready to go, you're going to get ate up. And, I found that out throughout my career, and that you got to bring it every night. And it's really close to the NHL, I would say, for sure.
Yeah, especially we've interviewed so many people who play in the AHL, and they basically just say the same thing. We're just like, it's so close, and you've been playing with people who've been playing in the NHL, and you just see how hard they work, and you want to match that and beat that so that you can get called up and wear the jersey that, like you said, you hope that you wear more than once, and that once would be on the draft when they call your name.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the thing is everyone pushes for it too, whether they're coming up for future years, whether it's guys that are older coming from Europe. I mean, everyone wants to get to the best league in the world, and a lot of that path is through the American League and through the development there. So, it can be hard mentally some nights, but you got to embrace that. And I have my 3 years, I've really enjoyed it. So hopefully I can carry on and make the next jump here.
Yeah, that's great. How does it feel playing for the Iowa Wild, and just like talk a little bit about Hunter Jones, seeing that we interviewed him? How do you think he's doing as a goalie? And how do you think he's gonna do? And just like, cause he was an awesome guy to talk to. Max and I really enjoyed him. So just give us like your little opinion on him.
Yeah, he was great. Obviously, it's Jonesy's first year in the league, and I feel like as goalies, the AHL is almost a little bit older. And, the goalies, there's not many jobs in pro hockey. Only team carries 2, maybe 3 at the most. So there's not a lot of jobs. So, it was a little bit tough for Jonesy at the start to make, and he made that transition. He got better, and he's done a great job. He just finished off becoming the player of the week in the A couple weeks ago, and he's done a great job for us. He's a big kid. He's gonna be one heck of a goalie, I think, and that's with both our goalies. Barabo too. I think they're both monsters. I mean, they're 6'4", 6'5" plus guys, and that just seems the way that goalies are these days. They just seem to be massive at this level. So, Jonesy's great, and I wish nothing but the best for him moving forward, because if he keeps working hard, I think he can get there.
Yeah, 100%. Like I saw that, like I saw a couple clips of him just like when I was looking him up for the interview and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like I saw just how athletic he was and just how he makes those saves in the OHL. And I'm like,
yeah,
that's really good. No wonder he was a second round pick.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a reason he got drafted that high. Goalies, a lot of times don't go that high, but there was a reason he did. So, and we've seen moments of that for sure.
Yeah. Max, what do you want to talk about now? I know you have some things that you put down, so just here's your time to shine, basically.
Yeah. So I know back in 2018, you kind of had a big month in April. You made your AHL debut, and a couple weeks later, you signed your ELC. I was like signing with, an ELC is like now everybody gets the opportunity to sign their entry-level contract. But what was that like for you?
Yeah, it was good. For me, I missed that whole season. I tore my ACL at Traverse City, so that would have been my 19-year-old year in junior. Which at that age, you expect a lot of yourself with your club back home. Hopefully, win a championship and so forth. I know when I tore my ACL, I was pretty devastated for a long time, and it kind of happened before my season even really got going. So that off season that winter was tough because I wasn't with the junior team. I was just doing rehab every day. So that was tough, but to finally get back in April, get healthy enough to get into a game. I wouldn't say I felt that great in that game because it was my first time playing in over 8 months, but just a lot of hard work goes into that point, getting back. And then I didn't really know what was going to happen. Minnesota wanted to sign me to that contract, and obviously I was absolutely ecstatic about it. So, I got a bit of a taste of the American League and what it was going to take to play in pro hockey, and then to sign the entry-level contract that spring was just super exciting. And to this point, it's crazy to think that my 3 years are going to be over after this year already. The time has flown, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I mean, that's an ELC is definitely a very important thing. It's like it's your first step into it's like dipping your toes into like the NHL life, basically, because there are a lot of people on their ELCs, and it's such an important contract because like it can determine your future, like if the team will want to resign you or not. And given your stats like this year and previous years, they definitely will.
Yeah, so I guess we'll see what happens in the off season. It's going to be a little bit different, not knowing not what's going to happen right away, but definitely don't regret anything about my time here in Des Moines. And hopefully, like I said, it sucks that there's no playoffs this year, but we got 9 or 10 games left, and make the most of those games and get a few more wins with this group, and I guess see what happens from there.
Yeah, that's great. The next thing I want to talk about is just like your experience in Medicine Hat with the Tigers. I know you set your personal career high in goals with 27, assists with 67, and with the 94 in your draft year in the 16-17 season. So we've interviewed a lot of WHL players. I think one from Tri-City, one from Moose Jaw, one from Saskatoon. Now you used to play in Medicine Hat. So just like, how's the compete level, and who do you think are like teams that you always like, who just like you don't want to play against? Because there are always teams like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, being from Alberta, I was always about 2 hours from Saskatoon and 2 hours from Edmonton. So I'd always watch the Oil Kings or the Blades when I was younger. And, when you're 13 and 14 going through the Bantam draft, it's just, that's like your NHL at that point. I mean, you just hope that one day you can play in that league. I'm not, speaking for most guys out West, that's what we think about it in the Western League. So, I think moving forward from those days, I just always wanted to, play in the Western League. And then when I got drafted by Medicine Hat, being only 5 hours away from my hometown, it was super exciting. And I hope that one day I got the chance to. And my time there was awesome. I loved all my teammates. Medicine Hat's a great city. They've always supported their team tremendously. I was able to play in a new rink there too, my last 2 years. So nothing but good things to say about it. A team that, I never liked playing was the Lethbridge Hurricanes. And when I first came into the league, they weren't very good. And then at that time period, and then we had great, battles with them in playoffs, and they got a lot better. So that was our rival. They're only like an hour down the highway. So it was always good rivalries against them, and just a team that I didn't like playing against. And in terms of just teams being good at that time, Seattle was really good. That was the year they went on to win the WHL. They had Barzell. Their teams were just loaded. So that was always a tough night against Seattle, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, Matt Barzell is something else this year, especially.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say he was probably the hardest guy I've ever played against before, just in terms of what he could do with the puck and whatnot. And he does it in the NHL now, and he did that and more in junior for sure.
Yeah, that's definitely a big thing. So we have to wrap up now. Ben just texted me saying that you have to run. So thanks so much for this interview, Mason. I'll send this to you and then later on, either tomorrow or the day after when I'm done editing it. Thanks so much, and I'll see you later.